Today on Let's Talk Boundaries, you will meet Tracy Morgan, a renowned speaker and multifaceted woman who will share what it takes to move from insecurity to self-confidence. Hello, beautifuls. This is Pamela Baird, your boundaries coach, and let's talk boundaries, shall we? I have some amazing guests that I want to introduce you to, and the first one is Miss Tracy Morgan. Now, I tell you, once you start listening, and once you meet Tracy Morgan, you're going to know exactly why I have chosen her to. What's the topic today? From insecurities to self-confidence. How to make the shift, because this is a young lady who I have known for a number of years, and I have watched her grow. I have watched her make that shift from insecurities to self-confidence. And because of that, she is reaping the benefits of all the work that she has done. And I want her to be able to share with you the work that she has done, the road she has traveled, the obstacles she has overcome in order to make that shift from insecurities to self-confidence. One of the reasons I wanted to bring her on because she has also started a brand new podcast. So I want her to share with you about that podcast, why she came up with this. I can wait till you hear the name of this podcast and what the content is all about, because you'll definitely want to tune into that. So without further ado, allow me to introduce you to Miss Tracy Morgan. Woo-hoo!
Good day. I am so excited for being here. Thank you, Pamela. Yes. So I have recently launched my podcast, and it's called Mature Manure. And it was a very interesting concept that came up from a possible agricultural venture, but it just really dawned on me that because I don't use profanity, as they say, it takes a lot to pull someone there. So I was like, we really need to start having really mature conversations for all ages of what's going on out here as a whole, and how to change, how we're truly going to address the challenges, issues, not just come up with the solutions, but putting them into action. And so the name of my podcast is Mature Manure. So yes.
I love it. What's that one word you always say, because you don't curse, that this is about?
I'm trying not to say it. Okay, I don't know if I was allowed. As I say, we're having real conversations about shiznit that's taking place, and how to truly make that pivot to change, make that pivot to transform. So yes, we talk about real shiznit.
Okay. So let's spell that. What do you think? Spell it for me.
Oh, I got it for you. I got it. SHIZNIT. Shiznit.
I love it. So when you tune into Tracy's podcast, Mature Manure, you're going to know that it's about real shiznit. And so tell us a little bit about when your podcast airs and where they can find it.
Yes, currently we are Thursday. I am on Thursdays, every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I go live on IG. That is how I am building up for it before I found my housing platform as a whole. So they can find me at Tracy Speaks, and that's of course TRACI Speaks, SPEAKS. And every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mature Manure with Tracy Morgan.
And we're going to talk some shiznit. My goodness. Okay. So let's talk about Tracy. I want them to know a little bit more about you, because you have come a long way in order to be at the place where you are for this platform. Let's talk about you and I. How long have you and I known each other, and just what has that been like for you?
I actually was thinking about that last week. And if I have been gone from Atlanta almost 15 years, we've almost known each other for 20 years because I lived in Atlanta for 11. So when I looked in terms of going back to Texas, I was like, how long has Pam been my big mentor, my big sister? You know, it was that moment. So yes, it's been some time, and it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. One of the things that, and you know, well, I will continue to say it. You are more than a mentor because you are more. You're more than just approachable. You are truly personable, and how we just truly connected. It was being real, you know, woman to woman, regardless of age. And yes, I'm going to go there. The Bible tells us in Titus 2 for the elder women to help pour into and help bring up the younger women for generations, for the generations to come. And that's what I see with you and how our relationship has been. It's been more than mentoring me. You have seen me through a lot of ups and downs, peaks and valleys, the whole nine. The core thing is you have helped me to stay focused on what are your boundaries, not just for others, but for yourself. What are you truly willing to let go so that your mind can be renewed and move forward? Because it's still one step at a time, this daily life. However, how you just took hold of me and said, you're doing this. There's going to be challenges. You're already an overcomer. The solutions are going to be there. But you know what? Someone is here to help you get through it. Not everybody has that. I didn't really have that growing up. There's a difference in being told, oh, this is what you're going to do, and the people help you go do that versus, well, this is really what I want to do, was truly me. And you've helped me throughout these years truly see me. You always make references to butterflies. I don't think you realize this. Well, within our conversation. And you would always say, Tracy, you're breaking out another layer of cocoon. Up, I see a wing. I can see your colors, you know. And so that helped me. That helped me see I'm breaking out of the shell. I'm a new person. The physical transformation, the internal transformation. Well, first, the internal transformation has to happen in order for the physical manifestation to take place. So I'm grateful for that. And that is what you have definitely helped me do. And being able to address, as we say, look in the mirror, that's who you are. And I'm grateful for it because, again, it's not just about external boundaries with others. It's what's the boundaries within myself? What am I accepting of myself, or what am I refusing to see? And to let no boundary be there. You know, is that a boundary help affecting my self-worth? Well, not just affecting it, but causing me not to recognize truly my self-worth and who I am. From there, that's where we are. You've been in my life. I'm just going to claim it. 20 years. I'll be 50 in June. So yes, yes, 20 years.
Oh, that is amazing. And I love because you went from one place to another. There are areas, not that you weren't confident, Tracy, when we met, because there was an air of confidence that came from you, because you are a businesswoman, you're an entrepreneur, you're a professional, you're corporate, you're all that, right? But people don't realize that even though they're all that and they have all these accolades and credentials behind them, there's still some insecurities there. And with these insecurities, it's like we're wearing a mask, we want people to believe a certain thing about us. But then when we close that door, we take that mask off, we are harping on the insecurities that we have. And when we met, I believe over the past 20 years, as you've indicated, that mask has gone away, that the majority of the insecurities are have vanished. I mean, there's never going to be a place where we don't have any insecurities. It's just kind of like doing things in the midst or in spite of fear. You still have the fear, but you do it anyway because you know what you were looking to get out of it. So you have not allowed your insecurities to get in the way. And based on our conversation earlier, you are a true testament to that. You are reaping the benefits of the seeds that you have sown within your level of confidence. With you have spoken directly to your insecurities because of the power that is in you, and because of that you are reaping the benefits of that. So tell me a little bit about how you had seen yourself as being insecure, why you've been insecure, and some of the things that you've been able to accomplish to eliminate that in those areas and get to the area of self-confidence that you have right now.
I'm going to be just straight up. And this came from our conversation before starting. Sometimes there could be family challenges that arise and bring in aspects of insecurity. Speaking from what I went through, I know for me, my parents' divorce had greatly affected me. So those childhood experiences, yes, we all have traumas and the negative experiences. Those events, whether it was bullying that I experienced, sometimes if they're parents who don't realize they're not really letting their child know you're great, you can do anything, versus talking down or negative. Those are things that I know I had to definitely overcome, and as well as many of us, different societal pressures that are out here. When I look at who I placed in my life to help balance those things out, to start building and letting insecurities go, it was definitely a process because, children are like sponges, so they absorb. And when someone is told something so much all of their life, well, not all of their life, to a certain point, especially during childhood, those true important years, because again, they're sponges, they're taking it in, it's going to change how they see themselves. It's going to change how they even operate and do things. One example was, I'll just say this, from a physical perspective, I'm 5'8", I have a medium to large frame. I now know I have naturally more muscle. I have more muscle naturally, like an athletic perspective. It's what I've learned. And so my body type was not like most girls. At one point, I was a part of, it was like 2 or 3 of us, we were the tallest girls, although some were taller than me. But dealing with certain family members and how they spoke to me and talked down on me, making me feel as if I was severely overweight, they couldn't find things to fit me, and those type of things, I took that in. So it affected my self-confidence. So when friends or people say, oh, what are you talking about? You're not big and this and that. No, I am. I held on to it. And I remember it got to the point, just even in overcoming that aspect of some childhood experiences, it hit me. I said, I'm no longer calling myself a fluffy girl. But, as we get older, it's like, oh, I'm a fluffy girl. No, because that means I was taking ownership. That's how I am. I'm big on words. So it was like, oh, what am I taking ownership of? Why do I still have this within me? How do I need to really see myself to overcome this? And in all honesty, I cannot remember her name, but she's a shot Olympian who does the shot put. And I remember, I want to say she won bronze back in about 17 years ago. And after Black woman, and I saw her, and they happened to show her pictures at her smaller stages versus when she's getting ready for like training for her sport. And I was like, wait a minute. She looks like she's actually about 200 pounds just in how she's built. And I will never forget how God showed me, that's you. You will, and it wasn't a negative thing. You're not made to be 150 pounds. And how that helped me. And then having a doctor, I will never forget my doctor in Atlanta. And she told me, she goes, well, how much do you think I weigh? And of course, I'm looking at her, I'm like, you look like you're about 5'10". I was like, I think you're about 170 something. And she goes, no, ma'am, I'm 200 weight. I fluctuate between 210 and 220. And this is why I want your weight to be down to maybe 190. She said, but 200 to 210 is truly your range. When I tell you the release and seeing that athlete, it was truly the moment of everything that was poured into me. What I now know is the verbal abuse, all of those things. When I say it had to start going out, releasing, had to release it to say, no, this is who I am. And then the other part that I realized was, don't project your insecurities about your physical appearance on me because of where you're lacking. That was a boundary, of course, I had to get to. But really understanding again, as a child, I didn't know what was happening. It was just being poured into me. But going through those stages, it was like, no, it's time to let it go. So you can be confident truly in who you are. Yes, there's scriptures, there's affirmations out there. I'm a firm believer. We can speak stuff all day, but it's when we take ownership of it, true ownership, that we can start making that change. We can start getting stronger in our confidence. And let's be real. Yes, my ultimate goal is to be one of the best motivational speakers out here to help people make their pivot and transform. However, there's a physical thing. Part two, I had to be able to do the physical work. So how I've been developing, when this isn't about looking good on stage in this dress. No, I don't need to be huffing and puffing while trying to speak. I don't need sweat beads coming down my forehead, dripping makeup, hair products. You know what? I need to work out. I need to take care of this physical temple. I need to get as a part of my purpose. That's a part of what I'm supposed to do. And that societal pressure of, oh, well, you got to look good and this and that. Baby, that's what shapewear is for. That's what wearing clothes according to my shape. And you know, I'm big on that. I don't follow a bunch of dressing trends. Let me dress according to my shape and what looks right on me, because people aren't coming to see the physical me. They're coming to hear what needs to be said to help them. And so in just those things alone, I had, again, overcoming what was spoken to me and how I accepted certain things. And even with something that happened the week of Christmas, went to visit someone, and it really hit me. Sometimes certain generations or where you're from, as they say, is how you speak, just how they speak. We don't mean it's just a term of endearment. So when a particular person who I love dearly, she spoke to me a certain way, and it hit me. I didn't answer her. I kept doing what I was doing. And it was finally when they said, Tracy, didn't you hear me? And I was like, oh, you called me? Versus bring your bleep, bleep, bleep over here. You know, okay, I can go about this differently, because what? I'm not accepting. I respect and love you, but I'm not accepting what you consider as a term of endearment, because that means I'm taking ownership of being called, and excuse my language, a fat, like how they say, bring your fat ass excuse my language, over here, something like that. People don't understand that can affect you. And if you're speaking that to someone as a child and they've just taken it, it's like, well, I've always been called this, so I am. No, you're not. Moving that forward to where I am at this point in time, it's the freedom. And then again, I have to really go deep to say, okay, I love my family. I love them. However, why are they so comfortable talking like this and feeling is to be accepted? I accept you for you, but I'm not accepting these words because words have power. That is my healthy boundary. And that's how I have been able to even continue to grow in overcoming the self-sabotage, not having self-esteem, not building it, just not even having it, to where I am now. Yes, I'm confident in who I am. Coming that trauma and the experiences have been there. And that goes into also the lack of the self-acceptance. Let's just be honest. So, no, I'm making a choice to recognize what I feel are my flaws. Okay, so how am I going to change this flaw? How I'm going to make a weakness a strength. In a nutshell, that's basically the same thing. And so I'm doing this. You're doing this. We're all doing it. We're doing it together. And I feel, especially as Black women, women of color as a whole, really just even women as a whole, because of societal pressures out here of what success, quote unquote, supposed to look like, what how we're supposed to look physically, and what beauty is. All of that, let it go. Let it go, because what's for you is not going to be what's for me. And that's okay. That's what makes us great as a collective unit, as long as our fundamentals are kind of basically the same, to help build together, to help pour into together, to do things out of true love. The heart matter, the mental health matter. Everything else we can work together to change. Point blank.
That right there. Oh my God. I think you just hit the nail on the head for moving from making the shift from insecurities to self-confidence. You named so many things that were fundamental to do that. And we don't always have family members that speak to us in the way that we need to be spoken to, that lifts us up instead of breaks us down. But then we have a tendency to internalize that, because having those sponges, we absorb that and we take that with us into our adult lives, and we carry those insecurities with us as if this is the reality of who we are. And it's not. I'm so glad you said that, because we have to get to the point where we look in the mirror and say, what do I see? Who am I really? Who did God create me to be? And these societal norms, do I have to accept that? Who am I? I have to share a story just to kind of piggyback on what you said about family members. Family members say things your grandma, your mom would say things when they haven't seen you in a while. One of those, ooh, you sure have gained weight. Or my mother has a tendency to touch my breast when she sees me, or touch my behind because, ooh, it got a little big. So you don't need to touch me, first of all. But there was a time when, I say it was about, I don't know, it was a number of years ago. And my mother had always made derogatory comments about my breasts when I was a teenager. And she got to the point where she would say it to other family members, and they would start to repeat it and just laugh about it. About 20 years ago, I was on the phone with her. I remember exactly where I was. I was in a chiropractor office, and she placed a call to me, and she said something about my breast. And it was kind of like a joke, and it was negative. And I said to her, I said, you know, you have been saying that about my breasts ever since I was a teenager. And I really take offense to that. I don't like that you say that. I don't feel that way. And I would appreciate if you wouldn't call me that. Or you wouldn't use those words to refer to my breasts. I said, because frankly, I love my breasts. And I haven't had a problem with anybody loving my breasts. So I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't call it that. I could hear the quietness, the silence on the phone. And then all of a sudden she said, well, I didn't mean anything by it. I said, I know you didn't, but I'd appreciate if you didn't say that. Never again has she mentioned anything about that. That was a boundary I'd finally set, but because I realized, you know what, there is absolutely nothing wrong with my breasts. And there was a period of time I wouldn't let my husband or whoever I was intimate with, I wouldn't even let them see my breasts because I would cover them because of that. And then after a while, like, you know what? I'm not covering my breasts anymore because I actually love my breasts. So that was a boundary and it was a shift that I made, but it's to your point, it takes a while. It's a journey. There's work that you have to do within yourself in order to gain the confidence that you need to go against the societal norms, to go get what people say about you. And it's not until you communicate that they realize, wow, I had no idea. You got to take ownership so that people don't speak to you in any way that's not acceptable to you and who you are.
Most definitely agree. And I want to kind of piggyback off of your experience. I got to the point with, and I can just be upfront with my mom, where she would make certain comments about my weight. Totally different body bills, the whole nine. And I'll never forget the day that it just came out my mouth. And I said, how about you focus on your health and losing your weight? And then just went from there. And, everyone, I don't know if it's a mother-daughter thing where we talk about each other's butts and like comparing, like, why is your shape like this? All of that. So I remember it just got to the point where I said, first of all, I love what I am. Secondly, the men that choose to date me and go further, they love every bit of this. And many have tried to say, well, I don't want you to lose any weight. And I said, well, let me just get healthy. I'll still be thick. It's still gonna be there. And when I say the quiet, so quiet, just didn't know how to respond. And it's that simple reminder each time. No, you focus on you, because I'm focusing over here on me. And just because you may not be seeing the changes in success, well, I am. I can say it to her because, I come from a family, we kind of joke a little with the sarcasm, but I'll just have to, it's so funny. And I'll just look at her and sometimes I'm like, hey, hating doesn't look good on you, but I love you. And that was a part of my self-confidence, speaking up for myself. The boundary, am I going to let you to continue to talk to me a certain way? No, I don't have to. I shouldn't have to lower myself in communication for you to get a point. Now, sometimes we have to. We got to meet people where they are. And that's where I would just simply have to say, how about you focus on you and doing what you're supposed to do, because I'm focusing on me, and leave it at that.
Wow. And this is what I got from what you just said. Communicating what you want and what you don't want, what you accept and what you will not accept is so important. And that's a boundary. It's coming from the internal boundary, realizing that I don't deserve that. I'm better than that. But that's the part you have to own. You have to realize that. And then the external boundary is communicating that to someone. Now, people may say, well, I've communicated that, just as you had, Tracy, but they still kind of make these little comments. This is where it's so important to reinforce your boundaries. And I love the way that you have reinforced it, because you meet people where they are with well, how about you focus on you, or haters, hating, those type of things are meeting her where she is. but to the point where she understands. That's a language she understands. And
Right.
that's reinforcing that boundary. I call that like, I did this one thing video on red light, green light, yellow light. A lot of people, when you set a boundary with them, which is a red light, as time goes on, they'll try something like with a yellow light to see if they can get away with it,
Mm,
because
mm,
you have always in the past allowed them to do it. Even though you set a boundary, they may not be taking it seriously. So that yellow light is, let me see what I can get away. Let me make a little comment. Let me make a snide comment or innuendo. If you let them get away with it, it's kind of like running a red light. You allow them to run a red light, but you got to be that cop to give them that ticket when they run that red light by going through the yellow, speeding through the yellow, when they're trying to get to green. Because once they get to yellow, they're going to pass that red and they're going to get to the green. That means they're free to continue to criticize you about something that you've already set a boundary about. Make sure you back up that boundary every time they say something. Like you said, Tracy, every time, she tries to say something, you're like, let me make sure you understood what I said. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Right? Let me make sure you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. This is a boundary. No, I will not accept that. And it's said in love. The way that you communicated based on where she was, you said it in love. You didn't disrespect her at all, but you respected yourself. That is the key.
yes, yes, and more yes. And it was Chris Tucker, because that's one of my favorite movies. So, but yes, do you understand the words that are coming out my mouth? Because, and I know someone that he has a saying of his name is Robert Morris. He's an author, and he always says people are complicated between years. That's something he always brings up, because many times people really don't think before they speak, or even in situations they're not in tune enough to say, let me pause before I respond. Because as you know, many people are different. Some people respond because I have to have the last word and this and that, versus no, let me practice some active listening to really understand the situation and then respond accordingly. And it makes a difference with those boundaries. But I want to go back to something where you of what you just touched on, because of what really just came to my thoughts. The word tells us don't break the spirit of a child. And because again, as children, we're pure. So what's poured into us is important. Because I was a little emotional earlier, so I'm holding it together. So many times, in my opinion, parents don't realize they are lacking boundaries, and they begin comparing their children to siblings, other children, the whole nine. That right there alone has planted a seed for the insecurities, for the self-doubt. Because you're comparing, you're not looking at that child as, well, what are my child's gifts and talents? What is my child great at? And I'm gonna go there, and I'm a strong advocate of college is not for everyone. Stop pushing college on your child when they don't even like getting up to go to school, or they always get called out. They have to get put out of class for cutting up constantly. Are they going to have that discipline for college? If it's not even showing in high school, they're not going to survive. Now, some, yes, they do. But also, again, what are their thoughts? Where are they leaning towards? I never would have thought I would be doing things in corporate and business. Now, of course, my parents always said, and I still try to figure out how I had a certain level of vocabulary. But according to them, when I was like 6, 7, and 8, because I saw my dad carrying his briefcase, all I kept saying was, I'm going to carry an attaché case. I didn't say briefcase. And I'm just like, where did I learn attaché? But even like that seed was put in me. However, when I reflected on a lot of things lately, artistic things is what I saw myself doing. I saw myself dancing. I still have my sketches from when I used to sketch out dresses and just clothing for the curvy girl. That's all what I call myself, the curvy girl. I have those things. I was pulled out of dance, things that were dear to me. I understand they put me in activities they felt were best for me. However, what did that do? It started causing me to compare myself to people, well, children and teenagers at those times. Those were things they wanted to do. No, I wanted to be over here dancing. I wanted to sing. I wanted to be at the farm. I wanted to be at the lake and so forth. I wanted to cheer, all of those things, but I was removed from it. And so you then when you do those things to a child, because as I see it, it's like, are you trying to live your life through your child or letting your child live their life? Because what has happened, you've crossed that boundary. That boundary, you're now what? You're comparing your child, which now your child as growing up, because it's been ingrained in you. Why am I constantly comparing myself to others? What's for me is for me. If you tell me you're a Christian, does the word not say that we're all fearfully and wonderfully made and created in his image? Do we not have our own individual purpose? Are we not a collective body? Someone has to be the fingernails, someone has to be the eyelashes, but what? We all have a purpose that works for his good. So what's been happening lately? God has called me back to sitting more and doing my stuff in nature. I've been growing vegetables. Right now, I have a lime tree here in my office. I brought her inside. I've been so excited seeing like, oh my gosh, I got 3 new branches. I harvested 2 limes last year, which means now from this point, I'm going to start having full harvest. Just all of those things coming. But the part about me was, why is this just coming naturally to me? Yes, I've watched things on YouTube on homesteading, farming, growing vegetables, because you just want to have your general research how to do things. But when I started realizing this is in me, this is who I am. When people try to say, oh, why are you going to that type of dance exercise class? You can't go to one that has like Christian music playing and this and this. And that's where I have to say, first of all, I love to dance. It's a form of exercise, but I'm strong enough in my power, authority, and dominion that I know these earbuds, or however you want to call them, what they're saying in these lyrics, I'm not listening to that. I'm on the beat. I'm listening to the music. I'm having fun. Okay, y'all, we having this fun, but these lyrics aren't affecting me. And I'm in my element. That is a part of the ownership and me being confident, overcoming the self-doubt, the whole 9. And it's just been amazing. Right now, when I tell you like some of the private groups that I'm in, I get so giddy. It's called Black Women Homesteading. It's like 100,000 of us in it on Facebook. When I tell you how they say you find your tribe, I've been on there like, yo, I got more okra seeds, look at this okra, look at what I did, and that pouring in oh, you got this, you do this. Oh, we'll add some of this to your soil. Make sure you do this. That is what builds us. And yes, no, I'm not seeking validation or someone to help me build in my confidence to do what I enjoy doing. It's that community aspect of making it like, I am doing this and I'm loving this. And what ended up happening, I remember counting out, oh my gosh, you already know the overflow of eggplant, squash, and okra that we had. Like, I literally was like, I want to chop these plants down, but God said no. What began happening? I started giving away the abundance that came forth. I will never forget, I was sitting on the back porch and I was cleaning my okra seeds because you have to let those dry out to get the seeds out. And I was going, and God said, that's money. And I was like, what? And he said, that's money. I said, okay, Holy Spirit, where's this going? You can start selling your seeds. That's money. I'm bringing out some things that are already in you from your ancestral background, because of both sides of my family, we were farmers. We were tobacco farmers. My dad's side, heavy farming. From the Native American perspective, they live off the land. So things have come natural. So that's when I sat back. I said, okay, so is this why I've desired to have a homestead and a ranch? Is this, what is this about? And he's just showing me, because it's who you are. Stop comparing yourself to those out here doing these things. Do what's already there within you. Everything else is going to come.
When you talk about abundance, you are positioned. God has positioned you through your abundance to share that abundance with others now. Because of your experiences, because of what God has brought you through, He has given you the opportunity to shift from insecurities, to move to self-confidence, and He is right there beside you. And your podcast, Mature Manure, is giving you an opportunity to share that abundance, the abundance of knowledge, the abundance of wisdom, the abundance of experience, the abundance of helping people to understand what they don't have to accept and to understand how to expand their boundaries. One of the things I think is important for people to understand about you, Tracy, and about themselves is that you can't always do it alone. You have to have a tribe. You have to have people in your life that are going to lift you up and not tear you down. If that means you have to disassociate from some people because they're not healthy for you, then you go and replace them. Erase and replace with the people that can be in your life, that can lift you up, that can encourage you and help you to move further along in the process on that journey of moving from insecurities to self-confidence. And then you are well on your way. Tracy, I want to thank you for everything that you've shared today, because your words have been so powerful to impact so many people. And I'm just so thankful for that. And ladies and gentlemen, whomever is listening to this, please play this over and over again, this recording, this podcast, because you are going to have to be reminded of the things that Tracy has said, what she's been through, and how to overcome those things to be the best person you can possibly be and to move towards that which God has for you. Be sure you subscribe to this channel, Let's Talk Boundaries, because that's going to help you to get a reminder of all the things that help you to become who you need to be or who you are, and to shed everything that's been all over you. The dross is what they call it in the Bible, that negative stuff that's hardened and crusted over, the negativity, that you need to get rid of that. Listening to this podcast over and over again is going to remind you and show you how to brush off that dross that's been placed on you. So thank you again, Tracy. Do you have any last words? I know that we talked about your podcast, and I definitely want them to come on Thursday, and I will be posting your link information, and a lot of the words that you said were true nuggets that I'm going to be printing out here so they can hear it and remember it. But any other last words that you might have for our audience today?
I would just really want to encourage everyone to understand you already have the power within yourself to do it. When we change our mind, when we truly change our mindset, it's going to change how we speak. It's going to change how we begin to truly operate. But we have to do it intentionally. And that includes how we overcome those insecurities and staying in self-confidence. celebrating those small victories, and just really staying true to self and allowing yourself to flourish. And that is my hope for everyone and what they're able to walk away from hearing this podcast. I can do it. I am doing it. Let me get into find my tribe, or not find, let my tribe be shown to me. Because sometimes we go looking and we keep stepping into something that's not really there because we could be trauma bonded. So allowing that tribe to be shown to us. Many times it does come greatly in forms of accountability. You have been my tribe, Pam. You're one of my tribe leaders. And I'm grateful for that. So if anyone is needing that direction, you are definitely the person for it. And your podcast is changing lives. It is helping others truly come out of those personal areas of, as I say, darkness, because it's been hidden with us. We've tucked it away. This is going to help people see their own light and grow in it and stay in.
Thank you for that, Tracy. And do me a favor, if you're listening to this, you're watching this, make sure to leave a comment on what you've gotten out of the words that have been shared with from Tracy today. It means so much to us to know that you hear us and that you are taking this information and using it and applying it into your life. But however you were spoken to today, please place that in the comments. And again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because wouldn't it be a shame if we were to have one of these conversations and you were to miss it, and it was something you definitely need to hear. So in closing, I just want to say thank you for watching. Stay tuned. And this is Pamela Bird, your boundaries coach, and let's talk boundaries, shall we?